Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming to my talk about grappling for evil in the cloud, where we'll discuss about our open source tool called Cloudgrapple. So, a short presentation about me. I'm Andi Ahmeti. I've been working as an associate threat researcher at Permiso Security for almost a year now. I'm an author of a tool, open source tool called Cloudgrappler, and a co-author to another tool, which is Cloud Console Cartographer, which I had the pleasure to present with my manager, Daniel Bohannon at Black Hat Asia 2 weeks ago. Let's start with the agenda. We're going to talk about the introduction part, about the role of logs, the cloud logs for defenders. We're going to hunt for evil with Cloudgrappler, and last, a tool demo, if we have time. What is the role of logs in incident response, blue teaming, any of the above? A log is a fact which could lead to a potential incident, but not always. Logs are visibility. Having visibility on your environment, you can see who does what, and you can check the identities behind their action. Always make sure to enable them. Some services enable them by default, some others don't. Always make sure to enable them, because if an attacker comes by, they won't do that for you. After enabling them, always store them to a secondary location. You don't want to have a single point of failure where an attacker comes and deletes all of your logs, so you are blindsided over there. After storing them to a secondary location, aggregate them, correlate them, and most important thing, hunt for evil in that environment. Because all of those previous bullet points have only one single purpose, and that's finding the presence of evil on your environment. Next, we're going to talk about cloud logs for defenders. First of all, they are determined by the cloud provider. Some services choose to log different things that the other service won't. One clear example is that the AWS console logs all your clickings, including the read-only ones. And Azure tends to do not to log enumeration clicks, like listing users, listing policies. So that's a clear example. You have a delay in log generation, and that depends on many factors, like the network connection. And the most important one, the retention limit. Some services choose to save your logs or to store them for a 19 days period. Some others do 16 days period, and that's the clear example of the first bullet point. And the last and the most important one, they are far more abstract than other. And by other, I mean the on-premise logs. If you were to check the on-premise logs, you can see they are far more granular. You have file contents, file writes, system logs, etc. So you kind of see that the identity behind the actions that were taken, they are kind of blurred out, but we're going to make the most out of it and hunt for them. Now, we know what cloud logs, we know the cons of them. Where can you find it? The first example is in AWS. You can access them through the event history. You can access them through the CLI using the CloudTrail lookup events API. Moving down further to the Azure, where you can access them through the activity log on the Azure portal. Cool. You know where to find them. Now let's go to the most important part, the cloud attacks in the wild. And during the past years, we've seen an increased activity of known threat actors like Looker1, or called as GoEvil, or Looker3, Skater, Spider, Roasted Octopus, they are the same. And detecting the presence of these threat actors in the cloud environment has posed a significant challenge for the security teams. And even though we offered lots of tips and tricks with our blogs, threat briefings, we've decided to take it to the next level and actually publish an open source tool that acts like a cyber detective on your cloud environment. Without further ado, we are presenting Cloudgrappler, which is an open source tool, threat detection framework that has only one single purpose, and that's catching bad guys on your cloud environment and bringing it out to your attention. Why Cloudgrappler? It's a silly name, it's a complex one. I even misspelled it, and lots of native English speakers do that too. So we're going to start by the most important thing, or the basic one, which is a grep. And it's funny that if you translate grep to Albanian, the hook to Albanian is called a grep. And it has one purpose, and that's grabbing fish. But we are not hunting for fish over here. We're hunting for bad guys, specifically in the cloud environments. But how cloud is related over here? There's an open other command in Linux, which is the grep command, which has the purpose of doing a regular expression on whatever you pipe it into. Turn it down to the cloud section. We have the Cloudgrap open source tool, which essentially does one thing, is grabbing for cloud storage. And having Cloudgrap plus the Permiso Intel to know what to look for in your environment, we have Cloudgrappler, which has been released 1 month ago. Now, let's go to the key features of this tool. The first one is threat actor querying. So this tool specializes in querying for malicious activity in your cloud environment that are demonstrated by the most notorious threat actors. So you query for your data in log, you see if they match with our TTPs. So a TTP is a technique or a procedure that is performed by a threat actor. Until now, Cloudgrappler has 60 TTPs and is constantly being updated by our team with the latest intel that we find. Going down further, we have the single event detections, where this tool excels in querying for high fidelity and single event detection across both AWS and Azure environments. There are some, here I presented some examples of single event detections in both AWS and Azure. And the last thing is the integration with Cloudgrap, which I mentioned. So we're using the robust capabilities of this tool and wrap it up with our TTPs. But how Cloudgrappler works? First, we have the scope selector, where we are defining the scope of your scanning. So you can define two cloud services, AWS and Azure. Going down to the AWS part, you can define the bucket and the prefix. But if you go further down, you can see a bucket that has no prefix. So you can search for a specific resource, or you can go to a broader one, and that depends on how much time do you have for the scanning. Also the Azure one, where you can define the account name and the container you want to query at. This is the query selector. The query.json file is the file that has the TTPs predefined by us. And if you can see, every TTP has a name, has a source of AWS or Azure, has the intel, which tells which actor is known for this TTP, what's the severity, and a short description about it. And last, upon completion of the scanning from the Cloudgrappler, a report is generated in the JSON format, and we're going to talk about it later on the tool demo. And last is the tool demo. So now starting, we're going to change the data sources.json file. We're going to append our scope of the scanning. We're starting with only AWS, where we are adding the bucket, the prefix that we want to scan at, and another bucket which has no prefix at all. Now, let's go on the CLI part. We're going to be running the help command to see what features Cloudgrappler has to offer. And as you can see, there are many flags that the user can append in order to make this work. We're going to start with the most simple one, which is just running the main.py function. And what this tool does after hitting enter is checking if there are any new updates on the repository for any new TTPs, and if the current project that you have is outdated, is going to perform a git pull action to get the latest version of this tool. So the tool is started scanning. We can see on the red lines that it's checking for hits in the bucket that we added and the prefix, and it's checking for all of the following queries over here that are tied to the AWS service. On the green part, we can see that we found one hit about the get file download URLs, which is an event in AWS, and appended at the back of it, it has a secrets value which says if a file that contains the secrets as a file name, mark it as a hit. And on the other bucket, we see that there were no hits found. That's good news. Now we're going to start and explore more about the tool. We're going to add the --permiso intel flag, which essentially adds some additional data about the query that is being run. Also the start date and the end date, which essentially does what it says. It's looking for a timeline that you give as an input, and that's a really cool feature if you want to scan only a certain period on your logs. So we should be hitting enter now. And this essentially will do the same results, but adding the Permiso intel. So going further up, we can see that for the first query, we're adding the threat actor that this query is tied to. We have the severity and also a short description about this event and the damage it could have if it's misused by a threat actor. Going further down, we see that the scanning is completed and we have the same results. Cool. Let's add the JO flag, which is the report generator, or saying like, do a JSON output of all your findings. So we're going to hit enter. We're going to see the same results. And after the scanning is finished, we're going to see the report structure of the scanning. Cool. Let's do a tree command on the reports folder. And we can see the hierarchy of the reports where it has the timestamp, where you started running the tool. It has the bucket, the prefix, and the file name in JSON format if there was a hit. Cool. We have three main takeaways from our presentation. Threat actors continue to target cloud environments for various purposes, financial ones, political. Always configure the necessary cloud logging options for retention, forwarding, querying capabilities that are required to detect and analyze suspicious logs. And the most important one, use Cloudgrappler, which is a brand new open source threat detection framework where you can find potential presence of bad guys in your environment. Thanks everyone for your attention.
Great. Thanks, Andi. Do we have any question? That was a great presentation. We're going to give a shout out to Daniel, if he's watching us, and to Permiso. Thank you guys for doing an awesome job. There was a question on this side.
Thank you for the presentation. Also, I think it's really awesome that you made the tool open source. My question is, do you plan on expanding the tool to work with Google Cloud as well?
Actually, that's a great question. ENL, which shout out to him, also has said that the next steps are adding more TTPs and actually having coverage on GCP. So, yes, my answer is yes, we will.
Okay. Any other question? Do I see any hands up? No? Andi, thank you so much, and good luck with everything that you guys have going, and we look forward to seeing other tools.
Thank you.